Some people get seasick. Some people just get sick.
And what a fantastic New Year's Eve party that was, with my old band of 14 years, Jonah's Lift. And these fantastic people came to see me off on the quay in the cold New Year's Day.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
And that was 3 cheers for the ship Stray and 1 cheer there for little old Toobs, the Wonderdog. And I just had a few people give me a hand here as we reverse out, because there's millionaires' yachts all around and she's not very controllable going backwards. Although it's very calm on the water there, the flags are really blowing, and that's because there is quite a gale blasting outside.
Hello. This looks like a job for Sherlock Holmes.
But the sea state was obviously perfect for a nice, gentle sail by for the fans.
That bowl was the one for whom the bell should toll. Who's to pay for her whose life was stole? Who done it? Her face is gone as black as coal. Hey, I'll search you every nook and cubby hole.
But then, as we blasted out into the bay for a sail by for our well-wishers on Pendennis Point, the engine packed in and we were just under sail. The most minimum of sail we could. Look at that. What a gale. Sadly, our well-wishers were right into the wind, so I couldn't actually tack against the tide as well, not with this little amount of sail. So the views are just from a long way away, I'm afraid.
The weather's atrocious out here, so we're quite a way off. I'm going to let off the orange smoke flare, and then they're going to let off the 2 white flares to show that they've seen me for our well-wishers. So we're going back in. It's yucky out here, and there's no point going any further, so we're going to go not all the way back end, we're going to go up the river. So we're going to set this off and see if they see it.
So you'll see this, how much the wind is blowing this flare. This is a marker flare, so it's supposed to be for emergency services to be able to spot you. But as you can see by the boat, you can't see it at all. It's just blowing away in the wind.
There you go. As you can see, it's very, very windy. That's what smoke flare looks like. Hopefully they're going to see it, and in a minute, hopefully I'll be able to see the 2 white ones that they're setting off.
And there's our trusty well-wishers by Little Pendennis Castle there, having fun with some flares. Just behind them is Falmouth Coast Guard Station, who we asked permission to do this stunt.
Hey, cheerio. Well, what a start, eh? We set off hellish out here. Thought we'd sneak out and have a nose, but we couldn't, so hellish out here, and then tragedy struck.
I've just lost my hat. I've just lost my hat. My pirate hat just blew away.
So with a heavy heart, we sailed back to Diffusis Point, where we anchored for the roughest night I've ever had at sea. Ah, well, hi, salty sea dogs and landlubbers alike. Cpn Kelly and toobs here.
on the good ship Stray. We've got the fire going. It's a chilly old morning. And our engine problems may be easier to sort than I thought. So, after having a little bit of a problem with the engine yesterday when we set off on our first day maiden voyage, very embarrassing when the engine packs in after all that work. I checked the filter and it's a little bit blocked, but not much, a bit gungy. And I've bled the whole system again. There's fuel in the bowl, but when I pump the pump, it seems to be pumping air. So I'm wondering whether we actually don't have sufficient fuel, which is really embarrassing. But there's no fuel gauge on the engine, and I've done calculations and we still should have quite a lot of fuel left, and I was going to fill up when I got to Fowey, but it looks like I'm going to instead pump up the dinghy, the little baby dinghy, and I'm going to go on my first ever voyage on this one. And so we're going to pump that up now and we're going to row. I'll show you where we're going. We are going to row over there. Bit of a way, it's about a mile actually, but the little dinghy should, because we've got such little winds today. The winds are so gentle that I'm not going to get much sailing in today, but I would motor sail if I've got an engine that I can rely upon. So we're going to take this fuel canister in the dinghy and we're going to row across over there to get some fuel, and then once we've got some fuel we're going to bring it back, fill up the tank with that. The little tank hole is just here, and then try turning it over and see whether the embarrassing thing is actually lack of fuel, which is very embarrassing indeed.
So, after buying a new tank and filling it with fuel, I rigged a jury rig into the fuel separator and filter, and there's nothing wrong with the engine at all now. So, convinced that we're going to have an engine for the day, I decided then it's safe to haul up the anchor, which just take quite a bit of time with my manual winch.
Well, as we leave Falmouth at last, dead calm, as you can see, no wind at all. So we're motoring now with the spare emergency tank that I rigged up, jury rigged up, and we're just passing a memorable spot, of course, which is go past Fraggle Rock Lighthouse, and we're coming up to the headland where just down here in a minute you're going to see the cave where Toobs swam to 2.5 miles from out at sea, to be found the next day by 2 boys 4 years ago. That started our swimming adventures. And just out here where the nose is pointing now is Henry Henbags, buried at sea. Now, we did ask him for a hand last night because we had a few problems and it was absolutely awful last night. So I asked him for a hand, and he helped out, got us right. We've got a beautiful day today. So I'm now going to chuck in a stick for Henry Henbags for him to run after and bring us good luck again, as on our sailing trip. He's always there keeping an eye on us. So here we go. Go fetch, Henry.
So, on a beautiful day with no wind, we set off for Fowey. Now you can see I've got all the sails up and they seem to be inflated as if there's wind. Well, the reason for that is if you start up an engine and start moving 5 knots through the air, then there's 5 knots of wind. So by putting up your sails when there's no wind and using your engine, you can actually create wind with which to help you sail. And that's what we're doing here. True motor sailing. So we had some lovely sunset pictures as we close on the East Cardinal buoy off the rocks called the Gwingers, just off Dodman Point. And it is here much darker than it actually appears, and the camera starts to strain in a minute to decide exactly what colour everything is, and but it is quite an amazing camera to be able to take images at such dark light, such good quality images. And this is the Gwingers or Gwinius East Cardinal buoy. You know it's an East Cardinal buoy because it has a little arrow upwards and a little arrow downwards on it, and it's black at the top and black at the bottom. So you always go east of an East Cardinal buoy because it is east of a hazard. It always amazes me how big they are. The size of that, about 15 foot tall. Might even get to hear the bell. That's Dodman Point, sailing away in the distance. Now, I included these what look like slightly blurry pictures, but the reason for it is the sun has completely set, and this is how good the camera is on a moving thing. And this is the actual light it was taking those pictures in.
So this is exactly what I see when I'm coming in to Fowey. That's all I can see. So I don't know if you can see that white light just to the left of centre. That is Fowey Lighthouse. If it stays white, we're in the correct channel. If it goes red, we're too far to port,
and if it goes green, we're too far to starboard. So first of all, we keep that one white and heading almost directly towards it. Then you might see every now and then a green light coming on just to the right of the boat. I'll tell you when it comes on. There it is, and oh, hang on a minute, here it is, and that one is on the right hand side, rocks. So we have to go between the green one on the right and that white one on the left, but we're going to hug very close to that green one on the right, because the green one is right on the edge of the rocks that we've got to go round. So this is all you see when you come in at night. But Reed's Almanac has every single port in the whole of the UK and northern France and Europe, and it has a little drawing, a little chart of exactly what to expect and all the lights on it. So you have a look at that before you come in, you study, work out, make notes. I've been in here before, but only during the day. It's the first time at night, but I know what to expect. So but this is all you see. So it'd be a lot easier to spot those lights if there wasn't so much light pollution. All those other lights you see there is light pollution from the village. So there's street lights, people's lights, and car park lights, things like that. So it's very hard to pick out exactly the direction you're supposed to be going and the correct lights. It's really hard to pick out the lights, to find the little flashing lights and all that. But there you go. I'm going to leave it like this for a bit while we go in. Now that little green light that was on the right hand side, that was flashing green early on, that's now gone white. Well, no, that's the different. That's the occulting light. That's the next one we're going to head towards. That's good. There we go. Occulting is the same light as it is dark, and so now I've used this leading light on my left hand side, the one that's flashing on my left hand side, to get in from a distance. Then I'll take over and start going on the occulting light, and I can see that that's flashing white now. So because it's flashing white now, I can go straight towards it, because that's obviously the right direction. So I'm just using Gerald at the moment. He's brilliant on the helm. Gerald the auto helm, he's ace. And what we do is we could just got a plus and minus 1 or plus and minus 10, and that's degrees. So just make very small adjustments until we look like we're going in exactly the right direction, and he steers it all on his own using his internal compass. And that looks pretty good at the moment. That's almost going directly at the occulting white, and it looks like we're going to go to the left of the flashing green. So that means we're going to miss the rocks on the right, but we're going the right direction in. So now this big one that's flashing on our left, that's on now and off now, that one we can start ignoring that one now, because we used that to come in first. That's the leading light, and then we're now taking up the second leading light. You can hardly see it. I mean, I can hardly see it. I'm in the same, my head is in exactly the same position you are, so those big bits of boat keep getting in the way, but there is a flashing occulting light right on the nose. So we go in the right direction. You just have to keep looking at the plotter. And I check on the plotter where we are on the plotter. And that's like a little map or chart, and it shows you exactly where your boat is by GPS within a couple of meters really. So I keep checking that to make sure it looks exactly like where I think I am. But as you can see, all around you is pitch black. You can see what I can see, absolutely nothing. And except the lights. I find it really fascinating coming in the dark, or sailing in the dark really, because when you're out there in the day, there's lots of things to look at, lots going on, but at night all you've got is lights, that's all. And it's working out what all those lights mean and where they are and what they are, which makes it really interesting to me. And coming into a place like this, the pitch black, and trusting that the lights are in the right place and the lights are lit correctly and described correctly, and that you can bloody well see them. It's quite often you can't, and sometimes they fail. And still looking good there. And we've had a fantastic day. It's been dry all the way. I watched the rain clouds behind try to catch up with us, and but they've kept away. And I'm really happy that we had such a lovely day. But the temperatures must have dropped about 10 degrees through the day. So then, so here we are. We're coming in. We're passing that light now. As you can see, it takes a long time. The engine's running because we've now taken the sails down. You can only take the mainsail down when you're pointing into the wind. So obviously you can't do that necessarily on the way in. So you, while you're still a mile or so off, which is what we did, you point the boat into the wind, tell Gerald to keep it going that direction, and then you drop the mainsail. That's the only way you can do it. And then it takes me a good 5 minutes to tie that all up. It's what's called a sea stow. When I get in the harbour, I can tidy it up again and redo it again, and that's called a harbour stow, and that's a nice neat one. It's just wrapped round at the moment and got out of the way. And then we've pulled in the foresail as well, the jib. That's hauled right in, so we have no sails up at all, and we're just coming in under power. Now if we were one of the old sailing boats, we would have just sailed in and then used big sweeps once the wind completely is obscured by the hills each side. Then you use big sweeps, which are like oars, and you'd row the boat then the last bit up the river. But you pick your tides right, you pick your wind right, and it'd be quite a taxing and very expert thing to do, really. But, a lot easier when you got a lovely old diesel engine that now runs fine. Now you might be able to see the flashing lights now. The occulting one, which is on as long as it's off, and then the white light now, which is showing the rocks on the right hand side. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn. Ask Gerald to take a few points to the right or starboard. And there you go. The reflection you see on the bottom, by the way, isn't on the water. That's actually on the solar panel. So half the picture is solar panel. Once we get into the town, there should be enough light for you to be able to see the boat. But at the moment, it is pitch black. Still pretty good direction at the moment. Just check the plotter. Looking good. There's your green on the right. So I'm going to take a few more turns to the right now. That should bring us just in the right place. That's good. There we go. it's still got that green flashing on the right. You'll see it now, that is, and now, there we go. The occulting light you could just see on the left, and that's on now, on, off, on, off. So just gone a little bit too far to the starboard. Just a few degrees to port. Check the plotter. Yep, still in the deep channel. And when you change from sailing to motor, you need to change your lights. So that's what we've done. We've changed the lights from a red, green and white on the top of the mast for sailing to a red, green and white on the deck, and a white at the front of the mast halfway up it. And that says that we're under power. So this is Fowey by night. I think when we leave it, we may well be going early one morning by day. Wow, that couldn't have been a better sail once we set off anyway. Absolutely fantastic coming in. Not a lot to do for several hours, 5 hours, just motor along. Well, motor sail anyway, because we had full sail up. It was helping, but the wind is so light. Just checking on those rocks to the right now, so I can take a right, 10 degrees. $20 degrees. Now turning slowly to starboard. That's it, that should keep us deep in the channel now. As you can see, I can see what you can see. So just those lights. That's it. Oh, it's a bit rolly there. Where's Gerald going? Come on, Gerald. Pull yourself together. I'm probably pressing the wrong button, that's why. Because it's pitch black. I'm going to take over from Gerald, because he's going wonky. Right, now for some reason the camera isn't showing anything, don't know why, because I reversed it by accident. Oops, that'll be why, that was a picture of the front of my face. Sorry about that, everybody. Right, so I'm just heading towards that leading light again, and we're passing the rocks on our right now. That's all I can see. Ready? There it is. That little, can't see the rocks, just that light. There it is. And up the river go. Now on the way up the river you get flashing marker buoys, and if they are red, then they are on your port side when going up a river, and if they're green, then they should be on your starboard side when going up a river. And the way you remember it is port has got 3 letters, and so has left. And the old saying, the captain left his red port behind. So left, red and port is all the same. So your red lights are on the left, which is your port side. So now I know we have to turn I don't know whether you can see it yet, but there's a little red light flashing. There he is. That little red light flashing there is where we have to turn now, and he's got to, because his port is red, so because he's red we've got to keep him on our left. So that's the next one we're aiming for. Camera's having problems focusing on nothing. Not surprising. So it's the full approach every minute. Oh look, oh that's beautiful. Oh look, we've got some Christmas lights, and over here we have, there we go. Oh, come on. It's struggling to focus because there's nothing to focus on, there's no sharp lines. And there is Porun on the other side. There we go. So we carry on up the river, and I'll probably speed this next bit up. You might not be able to see it, but on your left hand side of the screen, the very rightmost lights are 2 red lights, one above another. That's marking where the key is. We still have to go a bit more to starboard to make sure we miss that red boy there. It's flashing. Just quickly show you the town as we go past it. There you go. Beautiful. And the little red dot you can see right in the middle is the centre of the boat. That's the red navigation light on the front, right in the bow of the boat. And that little flashing red one is the one we're going round next. And that's a dog leg going to the left. And as we come up to the very last turn, it's pitch black, there's nothing to see now, and I'm going to be stepping off onto these pontoons in a minute and tying the boat up. So that's how that took 33 minutes in real time, and I know I speeded a few bits up for you, and hopefully that's interesting to see what it's like to come into a port in the pitch black. So here we are in Fowey after our first 2 days of our Caesar Day adventure, and what an exciting couple of days it was, from different extremes, the mad weather down to the beautiful no wind at all, and lots of problems we had, of course. And we got woken up to this, the Atlantic Bay, dredging right next to the boat, and no chance of us having a big fat sleep in, but that's okay, they got to work. And a few things to sort out, but we've got good chandlery and a good bunch of people here at Fowey, so we're going to have a good time and go and have a delicious tea, which will be another video. Hope you all have a good new year, and we'll see you on the next video.
Just laying low and dreaming of that big old